Nation of Fit in 10, welcome to day 55. 15 days to go. Just over 2 weeks, officially speaking. Kind of crazy, right? And of course, yesterday I was talking, or last number of days I've been talking about calories in versus calories out model. And one thing I failed to emphasize, I don't really think I emphasized this, but I did touch upon it yesterday, was the fact that if we train with heavy weights and we make those, or we develop those fast twitch muscle fibers, those ones that produce a lot of force, as well as if we convert some of our slow twitch muscle fibers, those ones that are more built for endurance, if we convert those to more glycolytic, more fast twitch, we in essence are actually building up our BMR, because those fast twitch muscle fibers are more energy consuming. And so the irony of this actually is that a lot of people think heavy weight training makes you bulky, makes you fat, makes you just, but the irony is it's actually the opposite. It's developing these muscle fibers or converting these muscle fibers to more fast twitch, to being able to produce more force on demand. This is where we actually make the body more energy inefficient. Also, in general, if we're training with that type of intensity, that type of rep range, that rep range where we're failing in that, whatever, let's say 10 to 60 second time span, this is where we're going to be building the most muscle tissue as well. So we're building more muscle tissue aside from our organs, and our brain is the most energy consuming. So kind of interesting to know. I also talked about food types yesterday. Well, more specifically, how animal foods, generally speaking, are more bioavailable than non-animal foods, plant foods, and where you're more likely to pass through plant food. The other interesting thing to note too here, and this is just something I haven't seen any data on this, I've never seen really anybody speak about this, but I would think it would be the case, is if you are not producing enough digestive juices, so for example, let's say maybe hydrochloric acid in your stomach, or say maybe amylase in the mouth. I don't really know if that would be a good example, but we do start digestion in the mouth, not just through chewing, but through amylase, at least carbohydrate digestion. If we don't have, or if the body's not producing enough of these juices, we're not breaking down food as well as we could, and that would make it less bioavailable. So it's not even necessarily about even just taking in the food. It's how much of the food are we getting in? So kind of something interesting to note. You could make the argument that by eating more plant-based foods, you're actually going to be getting less calories, less estimated calories than what you would otherwise from animal-based foods. I don't know. This is just a thought on my end. And if there is a difference, maybe it's not that much, but just kind of interesting to note. The other thing to note too is if you are eating huge amounts of food, like tons of calories, thousands of calories in one sitting, you're definitely going to pass more of that through. You're not going to absorb all that food, so there's going to be less of that digested. So just something else to consider. But here are two things that can really help you, I think, with why you might think you have, or why some people believe that calories in, calories out model doesn't apply to them, or maybe why they have metabolic damage. Okay, so here's one reason. They overconsume calories. They underestimate. I didn't put that right. They underestimate the amount of calories they actually eat. So that's one reason. Okay, they're eating more calories than what they think, and this actually happens every time I run my challenge, because I give out the macros and people say, "Oh, I'm eating way less than that right now. You're giving me way more," and then they actually try to follow those calories that I give them as closely as they can. And some people are doing it perfectly. A lot of people are doing it, at least very close to perfect. When I look at their journals, and of course they're losing weight. They're losing body fat. The other reason is people tend to, when they follow a dieting regime, they tend to do well in the week, but they don't do well on the weekends. So on the weekend, they splurge a bit, but maybe they hold off during the week. And so in their mind, it's like, well, it's all evening out. There must be some other reason. It couldn't be that I'm falling off the wagon on the weekends. It's got to be something else. It's got to be metabolic damage. It's got to be a medication I'm taking. It's got to be something else. But the reality is that, that offset on the weekend that I highly doubt you're calculating for is offsetting the deficits that you're creating in the week. And sometimes, greatly, like a lot. And which brings me to something else. You're eating, maybe you're following too much of a deficit in the week, and you're chewing through more lean mass. So you're actually slowing your metabolism. Then you're over-consuming on the weekend. And you're over-consuming on the weekend, you're just gaining more fat on the weekend from that overconsumption. And so you've got these two things working against each other. Loss of lean muscle tissue during the week, and then an overabundance of calories on the weekend where you're gaining fat, and it's just really offsetting things and not in a good way. So this is another reason for you to be consistent with your calories on a daily basis, okay, especially if you're training. Okay, 6 minutes. Let's get to the message of the day. On this day 55, here are two things you have full control over. So you might believe that you just don't have the genetics, you don't have the gusto that somebody else has, you are just underprivileged, you're too busy, you're whatever. You have these reasons in your mind as to why, or you don't have control over, or maybe you are, you believe that you don't have the capabilities of what somebody else has. So here are two things you can control: your effort, your level of effort, and your attitude. Your level of effort and your attitude. And ask yourself every day, did I give it my best effort? How about my attitude? How about my self-talk? How am I talking to myself throughout the day? How are you talking to yourself how are you talking to yourself every day, day in, day out, morning to night? So work on these things, become more aware of them, be honest with yourself, and let's try to improve, right? Set some benchmarks, put some things down on paper, just like your weights that you lift in the gym, right? Make sure you record those. Set some benchmarks. Let's improve your standards. And with your standards improving, your confidence improves as well. Your self-belief improves. Your happiness improves. Your health improves. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude. And we'll talk to you all tomorrow at the 2-week mark.